two offenses. They drafted some things to help Mark Sanchez, definitely. But then they also drafted stuff to build a package for Tebow. I think as long as Tebow and Mark Sanchez can have a good working relationship, it'll work perfectly.
I think Tony Sparano knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know, maker of the Wildcat. He has something up his sleeve.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a totally different offense because the offense last year it was a zone blocking.
Yeah. Oh God.
Offense.
I hate zone blocking.
And this
Shout out Brian Schottenheimer.
This is a power offense with a vertical down the field passing game. So Stephen Hill he basically fits both of those scenarios, and I love it. I love the situation when we get down to the goal line. Nothing against Sanchez. I love him as much as anything, and I don't care how well he's doing, but you put Tim Tebow down there with Ganaway and Sean Green and Stephen Hill and
who's gonna stop him?
And Santonio Holmes on the other side. I don't see how people are gonna stop it.
That's 5 different ways you can score right there.
Right there.
Right there.
You can throw it up to Stephen Hill, 6'4".
Right.
You can run it in with Sean Green, run it in with Ganaway, run it in with Tebow.
Right.
Keller's there at tight end. You got Santonio Holmes.
And did you guys have some problems in red zone scoring last season, didn't you?
Well, last year it got better because Plexico helped us a lot. He got 9 touchdowns.
Okay.
And that put us in the top of the league. We really had a problem the year before. That's where Plexico came in.
Okay.
And that's why they had to go back, since Plexico wasn't coming back. They wanted to go out and get somebody to replace
And it
that.
amazes me he's still a free agent.
Oh, him and Braylon Edwards are still out there.
I understand Braylon because Braylon wasn't as productive last season.
He did have the injury.
Plaxico, I like Braylon. You know, Braylon's a Michigan man, so I love Braylon. But Plaxico looked very good. And for him to be still out there, I mean, in my mind, what are y'all waiting on? He would fit in any team. And he's not going to be expensive.
He had 9 touchdowns after being out for 2 years.
Yeah, and he's what, 31?
He's not. I don't think Plaxico is getting the respect that he deserves.
Yeah.
You know, people forget that when he did leave the NFL and he did go to jail, he was one of the best receivers
Absolutely.
in the NFL. He was a top 10 receiver in
Absolutely.
the NFL, easily.
I'm sure the Giants miss him dearly. I'm sure they miss him dearly.
Well, now that they got Victor Cruz and all those guys,
Yeah.
maybe not as much, but
Yeah, but still, you can't replace a player like that.
Yeah.
You really can't.
That's why they wound up taking that kid from North Carolina, Akeem
Nicks.
Akeem Nicks. That was basically to replace Plexico.
Yeah.
So that helped a lot, and the fact that Cruz came out of nowhere,
Nowhere.
you know, to save them because Steve Smith
the
had got hurt.
Those
Yeah.
are my favorite players, the ones that come out of nowhere.
Yeah, he came out of.
I love me some Victor Cruz.
Yeah, Victor Cruz is nice.
Nice.
He's very nice. But the Giants do well. They do very well with defensive end and receivers.
And receivers,
They do very well.
and having Eli Manning doesn't hurt.
Oh yeah. the little big brother. Yeah.
So we've digressed and gone on through our New York thing, and so we're going to head over to Mr. Scott, where he's going to clue us in on the Falcons and those Detroit Lions.
The tale of two cities, baby. Like I tell you, I'm a dual fan in every sport. You know, I live in Georgia now, but I'm from Michigan. I never turn my back on my Michigan roots, and I've grown acclimated to the Atlanta Falcons. I'm not a full supporter of the Hawks. For many reasons.
Let's not get
That's
into
another podcast.
But yeah, I digress. Atlanta, overall, for the picks that we had, I would give our draft a B. Overall, we started out with a 2nd round pick, Peter Kahn, center. I love that.
Beautiful pick.
Todd McClure is getting up there.
Yeah.
Our guards are good, but they're not great. So they're training him to play guard and center. In this season, he'll play guard. But eventually, he'll replace Todd McClure at center. I love that. And he's shown well. Of course, rookie minicamp, like I said, again, no pads, but he has the right attitude. I love that pick. He's from Wisconsin. Again, solid offensive line.
What the heck was he doing on the board at that point?
In the 2nd round.
In the 2nd round.
A lot of offensive linemen dropped.
Yeah.
A lot of offensive
A lot
linemen
of
dropped. Now, our pick after that 3rd round pick, I'm 50-50. Lamar Holmes from Southern Mississippi, tackle. They want him to compete with fucking Will Svitek and fucking Sam Baker.
Wasn't he a boxer? Oh, that's Larry Holmes. Sorry.
Yeah, right. And he's 6'6", 330 pounds. He looks the part. I'm worried about his work ethic. I'm very concerned about his work ethic. We shall see. I mean, I hope that he challenges at the tackle position, but for me, on our offensive line, our tackle position is our biggest weakness. Sam Baker should have never been drafted as high as he was.
That was an extremely.
He's a right tackle.
reach.
He's Jeff Backus. He's a right tackle that they force fed him.
And it doesn't hurt that his father owns the Georgia Force, so that was a business deal. The Georgia Force is pretty much the Falcons' D-League. So, business deal. I get that.
Little inside slant there, folks.
I get that. Now I understand the business, Arthur Blank. I get it. After that, our 5th round pick, Brady Ewing, fullback. I love that pick. I've done more research on him. Me and Lou were talking about it the other day because he's kind of unknown. Also from Wisconsin. So he had to be doing something right because Wisconsin had a pretty good running back that went pretty high in the draft. And we lost Owie Mahaley. Salary cap reasons. He was due $3.5 million this season.
I want him.
And we had once Owie got hurt last season, we had Mike Cox from Georgia starting. Mike Cox did a good job. So now you got Brady Ewing in the mix. I like that. Mike Cox and Brady Ewing and Jason Snelling all vying for the starting fullback position. You know, as you know, Jason Snelling is a hybrid.
I love Jason Snelling. I think he's a good power back. He can be a running back, fullback.
Oh, running back's never been a problem for the Falcons.
Oh no.
Then after that, we got Jonathan Massaquoi, the DN from Troy. I also love that pick because he comes from a good lineage of DNs. And again, he's saying all the right things, doing all the right things. You know, he brought up DeMarcus Ware and different players like that, and he was saying how he wants to be cut in that mold. And the Falcons have a collection of defensive ends, but nobody has separated themselves. Croy Bierman started to do that, but he goes back and forth. He'll have a good game and then he'll disappear.
Okay.
So we need defensive end help. Somebody has to replace John Abraham.
John Abraham's gonna get up there.
Yeah, somebody has to replace him.
He's an injury waiting to happen.
Yeah, and then we got Ray Edwards from the Vikings. He was hurt all last season, so I'm still looking to see something from Ray.
I felt like the Falcons might have overpaid him a little bit. I think that having Jared Allen on that Vikings defense helped them a lot.
Again, you make a mistake on Jamal Anderson. In top 10.
You had to bring that back.
And you make the mistake.
Shout out to the Indianapolis Colts for taking him.
And you pay for it. Okay, that's why we're picking Quentin Coples now because of Golston.
Yeah.
In that sense, I agree.
Yeah.
Golston does impact Coples, but that's because you made a mistake on Golston.
Our 6th round pick, Charles Mitchell, strong safety. We need a backup safety. Here, I think he'll slide right in because last season we had a lot of injuries at safety. I love William Moore. We had James Sanders, and we had another old safety. I can't think of his name, but he's gone. So we need a backup at safety help. Charles Mitchell fits the bill. Typical size, typical speed, aggressive, plays well in coverage. So I like that as long as he can stay healthy because he did have injury problems. And our final pick for the Falcons was D tackle Travian Robertson. I'm so glad that the Falcons didn't waste a high pick on a D tackle. Because in my eyes, you can find a D tackle at any point in the draft, even undrafted. Look at Jay Ratliff.
Right.
And we spent all that money on Parade Jerry. He's done absolutely nothing. We spent all
another player who I think they reached for.
Yeah. We spent all that money on Jonathan Babineau. He's had 1.5 good seasons. So I definitely like the defensive line help, and our best defensive tackle went undrafted from Georgia. So yeah.
Okay. Well, my one issue with the Falcons draft was, is the tight end.
Yeah.
Okay, because Tony Gonzalez is not going to play forever. In fact, has he not announced that this is going to be his last season?
Last season, yeah. This will be his final season.
So you're waiting until he retires in order to go replace him.
And I mean, they picked up a few guys undrafted. They picked up like 4 tight ends, but nobody that'll make an impact. And the tight ends that we actually have on the roster, they're all either or. Either they can catch or either they can block. We have no combination of a good tight end because, you know, we have Palmer behind Gonzalez. He does well in the red zone, but he can't block. He's like a big receiver. He can catch passes, but he can't block. And I'm sorry, if Matt Ryan takes another injury, I'm going to suit up myself. I'm tired of this, like seriously. So yeah, I agree with you there.
I think the run game might suffer a little bit if you talk about Tony Gonzalez leaving. You know, you got a lot of leadership right there with Tony Gonzalez. I mean, it would have been smart for them to replace him with somebody.
Somebody.
Yeah.
Anybody.
Last draft, this draft,
Yeah, I
anybody.
see all the tight ends that they wanted went early. Because I know they were eyeing a tight end, Kobe Fleener, and they were eyeing the guy from Stanford, and they were eyeing the guy from Clemson, and all those guys went.
I thought the guy from Clemson was perfect. I thought that's
Yeah.
who the Falcons were going to
Is
pick.
that Charles? Is that, Orson Charles?
That was he from Georgia,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
and they actually were eyeing him too. But all those guys went because we
Oh,
got
Dwayne Allen.
Dwayne Allen, yeah.
From
All those guys went because they were once Peter Cons fell, he was a lock. So then you had our third round pick. By the third round, pretty much all those tight ends we just named were gone. So yeah, it's a huge question mark, and we're gonna have to use a high pick on a tight end next year. We're gonna have to.
Yeah,
We're going to have to.
absolutely.
So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And then another problem is too, they're trying to transition to the more pass-happy offense with Roddy White and Julio and Harry Douglas.
Julio's, I think, is going to be the Falcons' future. He's going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy who was going to take this team.
Yeah,
You know,
he's gonna be great.
to wherever they're going to be.
I still don't. I'm not mad at all the picks we gave for Julio because he produced and he didn't even play the whole season.
Right.
He had 969 yards, 9 touchdowns, and he missed 4 games.
Yeah, I feel like Julio Jones is going to be excellent.
And I mean, and like I said,
I
don't
think
forget
he's
about
excellent,
Roddy. We still got Roddy.
Yeah.
That's one of the top 5 receivers in the NFL. So with those two combined, we're gonna give problems. But we do need that tight end. We do need that underneath.
Matt Ryan needs that guy that he can dump it off to
Absolutely.
when stuff gets tough,
So,
especially with
yeah.
that offensive line the way it is.
Absolutely. So yeah, I pray for our offensive line. And see, the problem is I'm a big Falcons fan. We got a good team on paper, but we have completely revamped our coaching staff.
Yeah.
We have Mike Nolan running our defense. I don't know what to expect from him. He's going to run a hybrid 3-4-4-3. So we see how that works. We lost our stalwart in the middle, Curtis Lofton. I hate that. And then we lost him to the fucking Saints, out of all people.
Hey, you still got Spoon though. I love Spoon.
Yeah, I love Spoon. But the guys that they had to replace him, Hakeem Dent, which is a question mark. He was drafted for special teams. And then we picked up Lafa Tupu from the Seahawks, who wasn't even in football last year, who was injury prone. He's supposed to hold down the middle linebacker position. I'm very skeptical. I mean, I know it can be done, and I have faith in our coaching staff, but I'm very skeptical. And then we have Dirk Coder running our offense now. I like that because I didn't like Malarkey. Malarkey kept our offense extremely too vanilla for the weapons we had. He kept it, and I pray for the Jaguars. Shout out to MJD. He would have had about 2,000 yards.
I mean, like I felt like the Falcons didn't know what they wanted to be. They didn't know what their identity was.
Yeah.
They didn't know if they wanted to be a
It
power
showed.
team or
It
a
showed.
finesse team. It's tough. I feel.
And I love Julio Jones. My only problem is he's always hurt. He always gets hurt. You can guarantee he's like John Abraham.
Yeah.
When he's on the field, he's gonna produce.
Yeah.
But you are guaranteed that boy is gonna miss a couple of games a year.
Yeah.
And they always miss at the worst possible time. And that's the problem that I have with guys who, I mean, yeah, he's a franchise type wide receiver. He makes the difference big time. I mean, it says here, him and White combined for 154 receptions, 2,200 yards, and 16 touchdowns. And he didn't even play the whole
See,
season.
check this out. Roddy had 100 of those.
Yeah.
Julio did numbers, but Roddy had 100 of those. Roddy had 100 catches for, I believe, like 1,200 yards.
Roddy White is a walking pair of gloves. Like he's gonna catch the ball
Oh yeah.
regardless.
Oh yeah. That was one of our best drafts with Roddy White. Because I didn't honestly when they first got him. He was at the end of the Michael Vick era. His first year, Roddy looked bad.
He complained about Michael Vick throwing the ball too hard.
Yeah.
But I think that Matt Ryan has more touch. It's a
Absolutely.
lot easier for him.
Absolutely. So Falcons, I look forward to it. Anything less than 10 games, I'll be disappointed.
The Falcons should win the NFC South this year.
And but bigger than that, we're like the Heat. We got to get playoff wins. We're 0-3 in the Matt Ryan era in the playoffs. That's unacceptable with the team that we have and the way that we lost. We've lost both the past 2 years to the Super Bowl champion. We lost to the Giants. They beat the shit out of us 24-2. and we couldn't get the offense going for anything. And then the year before, we lost to the Packers and got embarrassed in Atlanta. So it says it's good things you can take out of that, and it's bad. We got to step up in big games.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We got to step up in big games. And Matt Ryan.